life and your mental health, sure, you could do it, but there's a trade-off.
Yeah, there is. No more
like, what
time.
You're going to the game tonight. What, are you not going to get a hot dog? Imagine.
Or a beer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Stokastic.com NFL Showdown Strategy Show. Yeah, we got a good one on our hands. A little NFC West divisional battle. Matt Gajewski's with me. I'm Dave Loughran. We do this every Monday and Thursday until the season no longer allows us to. Matt, the Niners, if they win, have an 11% chance of making the postseason. If they lose, it's a wrap. On the other hand, the Rams have a 50% chance of making the postseason if they win. If they lose, 23% chance. So I wouldn't say back is necessarily up against the wall for the Rams quite yet. It certainly is for the Niners at home tonight.
Yeah, huge game, really, just for the impact of the entire NFL playoff race here. And I mean, I don't think the 49ers are as dead as those numbers indicate. They've had a lot of close losses. They've had a lot of injuries that have negatively affected them. Not much is changing on that front. But even with the injuries, this team has been like super close in a lot of games. And honestly, one of the main reasons they've lost is their special teams are just horrible. Depending on the metric you look at, this team is either 31st or 32nd in special teams. You know, they draft a kicker pretty high and he ends up being absolutely terrible, which just compounds the problems in the draft you might normally have. When it's a kicker doing that, I mean, it's an absolute disaster for this team. So to put a bow on that comment, I guess, I don't think this team is that bad. If they button up some stuff, I would not be surprised to see this team have a situation where they could run the table and get into the playoffs. This is a pretty good team that's run really bad this year.
I hear you. I was all over the Niners last week. I thought it was wild that the Bears were getting all of the love because the Niners lost in a crazy snow game in Buffalo and then without Brock Purdy and a bunch of other guys in Green Bay. And then you come in and you're like, oh yeah, everyone loves the Bears. And I'm with you. I think it's been a tough, they've probably been the most injury riddled team all year, from Bosa to McCaffrey to Mason to Purdy to Kittle to Jennings missing several games. Like did I say Trent Williams being another one? Like Travarius Ward being out for a while. Greenlaw hasn't even played yet, right? Tore his ACL or whatever it was, or he did something in the end in the Super. They've had so many injuries. You know, it's funny though, by the way, happy to have you guys with us. If you don't mind this morning, take a single second, atone for your sins, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Yeah, it goes a long way for us. We wouldn't ask you otherwise. So we appreciate you for it. And it's free to do so, 100% free. Leave a comment too. You're listening, watching after the fact. And if you ever want to listen in podcast form, you don't have YouTube Premium, whatever it may be, you just want to avoid the ads. And we try to turn the ads off on YouTube, but YouTube sneakily just like auto turns them back on. Anyway, listen with your phone off, whatever it may be. You can listen in podcast form too. But I knew this would be the case, right? So I said in the betting video I did today, Matt, that I'm like fading the Deebo props because I'm pretty convinced that his now deleted tweet is baked into it. The whole like, I'm fine, but I need to get the ball more. And then Shanahan's subsequent comments about like, we need to get him the ball more. I knew that this would be the chalk. Before I saw anyone say anything, before I looked at anything, it was blatantly obvious. And then I look in chat and it's all Deebo conversation. Now I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on one thing though, Matt. With the prop market, it's different because those are in flux. And the books can move them as they please. They can drop them as they please. Is as far as it goes in DFS, it's a static salary, right? So the salary doesn't move based on what the public or based on what people want to do or what Deebo tweeted or what Shanahan said. So Deebo's price is fixed at 7,600 in the flex.
Yeah, I mean, the funniest part of the Deebo situation is that he got community noted by saying, you know, he's actually been fine. I can't remember what it said exactly. It was like, no, actually, all these metrics say you haven't done very good this year. And then he deleted it.
Oh, he got community noted on that?
Yeah, he got community noted when he said
his touch counts actually aren't much lower than they were last year.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's not having a great year. I don't know the reason for it. Age, maybe he needs to be in the perfect situation with McCaffrey and Ayuk, whatever it is. It's not a good year. And he got community noted, and it was awesome.
So with that in mind, though, what are your thoughts on Deebo tonight against the Rams?
I was honestly surprised that he doesn't project a little bit better for us. His Deebo, the study's been throughout his career. It's eye-opening to see him at 7,600 in the flex. You see that and you're immediately like, wow, that's a price that stands out to me. But then when you dive into the alternatives on this slate, you have a number of them on San Francisco. Of course, you have the Rams studs in a hyper-concentrated offense. At some point, you have to just forego some players for others on the slate. And honestly, Deebo's kind of become one of those casualties for me. I would rather play Guerrero. He's got the green light, it seems, in this game. I'd rather play the QBs. I think I'd rather play Jennings, who's more expensive than him, but his target, like everything is better for Jennings this year. The underlying stuff, yards per route run, everything like that dwarfs Deebo. And now the opportunity stuff is starting to favor him as well. And that doesn't even consider the Rams skill players. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of off Deebo at this point. You could maybe sell me on the angle that he gets more carries because Guerendo's banged up.
I'm pretty sure I like Kittle more at the same price.
I think I agree with you.
Kittle's been fantastic. Do you know Kittle, dude? George Kittle is, and this isn't to say I won't have Deebo. Like right now, I have 20% in the flex of Deebo. It's not like I'm not getting any. I have 7% at captain. I feel like that's actually a decent amount for the way this guy has played this season. But do you know Kittle is quietly on his way to 1,000-yard season with double-digit touchdowns, and this guy's missed 2 games?
I'm not surprised by it. Well, one, you have so many games played in the NFL this point. I mean, getting to 1,000 yards is nothing.
Well, no, he has 811 games though. Like
right, he's awesome.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to detract from him.
Yeah,
he should be expected to get 1,000 yards, and he's on pace to do so. I mean, he's just as good as he's ever been in this offense, and seems to have taken a step up the target ladder with this team. It's basically just Jennings probably is the clear number one right now, and I'm very hesitant to say that after everything Deebo has accomplished in his career and Kittle. But I mean, what suggests right now that anything is going to change?
We're at the point now where I think it's very fair to say that, like, unless Shanahan is actively, listen, this is the one thing that is very difficult to quantify. I'm just throwing it out there for you guys. Do with this whatever you want. I already know Matt's going to agree with me, so this is what I'll say. Deebo could say he wants the ball more. Shanahan can say he wants the ball more, but with them trying to scratch and claw their way into a playoff spot, that doesn't mean that Deebo getting the ball more just makes him productive. And unfortunately, he hasn't been that productive. He's had a few really decent games, against Seattle, but he only had 3. He broke one loose. His rushing production this season has been atrocious. I mean, Deebo Samuel I'm serious, Matt. Deebo Samuel used as a rusher has been terrible. He's averaging less than 3 yards per attempt. He's been horrible. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just stopped trying to do it. It's been that ineffective. Like, this guy has more than 15 rushing yards in one game this season, and it was week 1 where he rushed 8 times for 23 yards and 2.9 yards per attempt. He has not been good on the ground. So then you say, all right, well, then he's got to be good after the catch. Sure, he can manufacture some stuff after the catch, but guess what? Kittle's been better after the catch than Deebo. Kittle's been one of the best players in the league after the catch this year. Just saying, just throwing it out there. So ultimately what I'm saying is that even if you're like the thought is, because Shanahan's like, we'd like to try and get him the ball more. What if Shanahan's seeing something where Deebo is just not as good as Juwan Jennings or George Kittle right now? They're not going to force him the ball just because he said something on Twitter. No,
nor should they. I agree with basically everything you're saying. After the catch, Kittle's been one of the best players at his position for his entire career.
Absolutely.
I'm not all that surprised to see him eclipse Deebo in this area. And truthfully, I don't know what it is. I speculated the same thing as everyone on Twitter, saying he might be injured. He refuted that, got community noted. We don't know what it is. If he's healthy, there's no real excuse for Jennings to be ahead of him on talent alone, but it is what it is. Jennings has either led the team or tied for the team lead in targets in 5 straight weeks, playing every single snap. See no reason for that to change in this game. And honestly, my approach, I think, with these guys, because I do still have this reservation, and it's probably just a bias going back from all the seasons we've had of Deebo being an absolute wagon, is to spread this out. Play some Jennings, play some Deebo, play some Kittle, because, I mean, this is not the most condensed offense on the slate. The Rams are going to absolutely pepper Nakua, Kupp, Kyron. I would rather take the condensed players on that side. So I don't really envision myself being more than 30% exposed to any of these players.
I hear you. You look at the target share for Nakua and for Kupp, it's insane. It really is. But actually, let me round out San Francisco for us, since we started there. Sometimes we just kind of start wherever we start and then let the show take us. We'll have live before lock tonight too, based on any of these injuries we see. So let's just stay on this side for a second. You have Juwan Jennings, who I think is, even at his price, a great play. It's Brock Purdy's number one target right now. He's been great. Him and George Kittle have been by far the two top red zone guys for the San Francisco 49ers as well this year. They both on the season have 21 red zone targets. No one else has more than 12. It's pretty crazy. They both have Kittle has 8 end zone targets. 7 of them went for touchdowns, which is just a crazy conversion rate. 7 of 8. Jennings has 9. We saw him last week with 2 scores. I'd put these guys 1 and 2. I'd put Deebo 3. And then after that, you're just really working yourself into like the Ricky Pearsall range and those type of guys who I think it's possible that that a guy like Pearsall, who was out there for around 50% of snaps last week, maybe gets an opportunity or two. Chris Conley played a quarter of the snaps last week. Jacob Cowing played 3 total snaps. I suppose all of that is in play, but at Ricky Pearsall's price point, I think you're going to have a hard time arguing that this guy is anything close to a priority, Matt. He's almost 5,000. Like, I would rather just play Moody or Cardi at the same price.
Yeah, I mean, with his opportunity, I'm just going all the way to the bottom. Like, I'd rather play Conley or Cowing. Just like, what are you gaining by playing him at 5K? Like, he's slightly less likely to zero than those players, but I mean, 0 is firmly in his range of outcomes.
Also, what's the likelihood that a Ricky Pearsall sees, 5 targets in this game?
It's low,
right?
He's like 5 receiving yards over the last month.
That's actually that is not like 5 receiving. He has 5 receiving yards over the last month. He has 5 targets and 5 receiving yards over the last month. And that is with him playing considerable amount of snaps. Yet last week, his snap share came down and Chris Conley's went up. I would actually say that things are trending against Ricky Pearsall if you were to look at the recent numbers.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing down here for this team. Like, I'm not, with the value that we have in the Rams, like, I'm not even considering this.
Would you consider Eric Saubert?
No. I mean, if you're playing 150, he'll play he'll be on the field a little bit in 12 personnel. But the problem with him is, like, Juszczyk does a lot of the same stuff. So instead of getting this team is a bunch of funky personnel packages, but it's all because they use Juszczyk. It's not like the Ravens or something where it's likely in Andrews and you have something that's semi-projectable. Like, with Juszczyk coming in and almost being like a 6th offensive lineman at times, like, it kind of ruins a lot of the depth pieces for this team. Like, they don't use a lot of second tight end stuff. They basically are one of the lowest teams at like 3rd wide receivers on the field. I don't know. For DFS, it makes things really tricky, and part of that's problematic because Juszczyk's almost never getting the ball unless it's the Super Bowl. So I don't even think he's really in play at 2K either. Like, the value for this team is a disaster, and luckily it's way better for the Rams. So, I mean, I'll be using all the Rams guys for value instead of this team.
Einsteinium said, how are the Niners favored in this game? LOL. Because it's football. Like, it's just, this is the way. The fact that the Niners are favored should tell you a lot.
How are the Jets favored in every game or short dogs now?
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Jets, I think, are still 3.5-point favorites against the Jags this week in Jacksonville.
I mean, I'll tell you this, Einsteinian, they'll let you bet them. They'll let you bet the other side too. You can bet whatever you want. If you have a strong opinion, you can put your money on it.
It's true. By the way, I bet the Niners at 2.5. And by the way, the tickets and money were coming in on the Rams, and this line moved to 3, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, none of that stuff matters.
No.
The accounts that are sharp are flagged. They move the line, not the money.
Right. Which I'm just saying it tells you something. Look, also because it's football, the Rams could come in and just win. They could come in and absolutely just win in a divisional spot. But I think sometimes we overlook some recent play. We overlook, I think in NFL betting, I would assume there's the same thing in college with certain like marquee spots, Matt, that we sometimes we put too much, we overemphasize like stats and that type of stuff and injuries, when sometimes it's just a matchup in the situation and the way things play out. Like you see that all the time in football. Philadelphia versus Carolina, perfect example last week. Bears and Niners, perfect example. It happens all the time.
Yeah, football's a weird game, man. It's a volatile game. You have a lot of outcomes that aren't close to where the spread finishes and closes before kickoff. And I mean, some of these plays, like an interception in your own territory can, like EPA wise, can be a massive swing in just the outcome of the game. So when you have individual plays, and it's literally that, like an individual play that has such an enormous impact on the outcome of the game, you're going to get volatile outcomes and weird outcomes. And sometimes you have a whole season of that. Like I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, the Vikings had one of the worst point differentials in the NFL and they won like 11 games or something. Like you get weird stuff. And you get stuff on the negative end too, where the 49ers have lost a bunch of close games, some of it on like missed kicks and stuff. But yeah, football's volatile.
It really is. Josh Them said, Rams win this, Niners won first game. Very rarely do middle of the pack teams beat the same team twice in a season. You should like the Niners then, because the Rams won the first game, not the Niners. Okay. Isaac Guerrero, if he plays, and we got a report that he said he feels good, foot sprain. They'll probably shoot him up with something. He feels good that he's expected to play. I'll tell you what, dude. If Isaac Guerrero, it doesn't matter who you stick in this backfield right now. They just end up being good, Matt. Whether it's, McCaffrey's been the least impressive running. I'm serious. McCaffrey's been the least impressive running back production-wise on this team all year. Like Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero, when given the full allotment of opportunities, have actually been more productive from a fantasy perspective and a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah, it really sucks for McCaffrey, man. The injury in the preseason and having it be like tendonitis or something, you can clearly see he wasn't right. And then he has a subsequent injury. Just very sad season for him. But it's, you can go beyond just McCaffrey and Mason. This goes back for years. The Shanahan offense has been a boon to running backs forever. And I have a lot of interest in whoever is going to play in this game.
Me too.
This really just comes down to how many snaps do you think Guerrero plays? And most of the guys behind him have not been on the team or have been on the practice squad and have not gotten meaningful reps in the offense. So I think with a game on the line that's as impactful as this, Guerrero, who they drafted, has been actually on the team working with the offense, should get as much work as he can handle. The question is, I'd like to welcome you all to the Isaac Guerrero experience. For anyone that watched him in college, this has been the problem his entire career. He is constantly exiting games, and I don't know the answer why. I'm a little scarred by him leaving games constantly in college too. So I don't know. I want to play him. I want to play whoever leads this 49ers backfield. How much confidence do I have in it? Not much, but I'm probably biased.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have probably a lot more than you. Like if they say he's good to go, and he's not limited today, I think I'd have a hard time getting away from, even without Trent Williams.
I'm going to have a ton of them. I'm just going to make sure it's not like, we'll see where the Sims take us through the day. But yeah, like sometimes he's cheap, first of all. So he's going to project well and be in a lot of lineups because his price is awesome for the lead back. I just don't know if I'm comfortable with it being like 60%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have 45 right now in the flex, and I have 23 at captain. So if you're combining them, then yeah, I have like 70%.
I'm going to be very exposed to him. I'll decide this throughout the day. I'll likely cap him at something, but I'm not sure what.
Well, you know what the tough part is? Even if you wanted to get different here, Patrick Taylor's priced up to 7,400.
Yeah, and that sucks. But I get why they did it.
They should have done it for sure. Yeah. Because that Garendo news, if this would have been the whole Jordan Mason thing from the first week of the season against the Jets, where McCaffrey got ruled out like the day of or whatever, right? And then Mason was basically minimum salary and you had to play him. I mean, in this case, Patrick Taylor would have been the same thing. I will say if Garendo ends up not playing, I will just jam Patrick Taylor like that. I have no doubt about it. I will jam Patrick Taylor if Garendo is out.
I want to see where this goes throughout the day, ownership wise. If people think he's okay, I'm going to listen to some stuff, see what the idea is with Garendo. I tend to think he's relatively healthy. I don't know.
I think he'll be okay. You know why else I think he'll be okay? They pulled him late in that game where they had a massive lead over Chicago. You know?
Yep.
I think, look, if he's active, I'm playing Isaac Garendo. Let me just leave it at that. Okay.
Me too.
What are you doing with Brock Purdy today? Because obviously he's another guy that first of all, Brock Purdy's not crazy priced. DraftKings has been pretty lenient with pricing on quarterbacks lately. Don't look now though, but Brock Purdy, outside of that terrible game against Buffalo where he was in the snow and the whole team was terrible, he's actually been really good.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Brock Purdy, as has been the case for a lot of the season. Sorry?
I love him.
I love him in the flex.
Same.
With these non-rushing quarterbacks, and Purdy has some mobility, it's pretty minimal, but it's just so easy for them to finish as an optimal flex contributor, getting the ball and throwing as much as the 49ers do. But you could easily see ways where guys outscore him, especially Garendo on the ground. But for Deebo not being involved, I mean, it's pretty concentrated still between Kittle and Jennings. I mean, you wouldn't even be super surprised to see one of those outscore Purdy on DraftKings because of the bonus structure. So I think in the flex, he'll be one of my most owned players. In the captain, I'm sure it'll be maybe a sprinkling, but I anticipate playing a lot of flex Purdy.
Me too. And currently he is my second highest exposed flex player. My highest exposed flex player?
Garendo.
No, Matthew Stafford. Garendo's number 3. Stafford, this always happens with like high totals, Matt. Whenever we have showdown sites, I always get a lot of, 2 quality quarterbacks at the flex, and I get a lot less of them at captain. Like I only have 8.5% Purdy at captain right now. It's early in the day. Things can change. We'll refine the prop projections and ownership and the sims and everything over the course of the day. Obviously, you're not setting and forgetting your lineups now. That would be insane. 5% Matthew Stafford at captain. But then I have 57% Stafford at captain or at flex and 57% identical Purdy. And then 45 Garendo, 43 Jake Moody. I'm honestly okay with that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'll be in the same ballpark, I would imagine, especially with the QBs.
Going back to San Fran just very quickly, because we'll talk Rams right now. I don't think we missed anybody, but just in case I did and you wanted to talk about them, is there anybody else with viability here on this San Francisco team? Like, is Kyle Juszczyk somebody that could – it's so tough with Juszczyk. I know you like to reserve him for the Super Bowl, but
hey, I don't think they're getting there this year. Maybe we have to use them tonight.
It seems unlikely. Save it for the Pro Bowl. He'll probably get in as like the fullback, right? For the NFC fullback.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be him and Ingold.
Right, like it is every single fucking year. But
we'll play them both.
Yeah, load up on Juszczyk. Aside from that, I think it's tough to get there. Maybe if Garendo's out, maybe. But even so, they just don't really want to do that.
I don't think there's a lot of value in the 49ers. There's some names you could potentially get to if you're playing like 150. Cowing at 200, and he's going to play probably like 5 snaps, maybe less. But I don't see a huge difference between him and Pearsall other than the routes. They just don't really look at that third receiver spot right now. And Pearsall's been so bad, man. I mean, you could honestly justify pulling him off the field. Otherwise, for San Francisco specifically, Salbert is the player you mentioned. I don't think the role is going to be great for him either, but the argument for most of the players down here in San Francisco is what's the difference between them and Pearsall? And I find it to be pretty minimal.
Last one. Keyshawn Vaughn, did they bring him back up or is he on the practice squad?
I don't think they changed that. I didn't see anything with him.
Because I'm seeing him on the active roster on ESPN, but then I'm seeing that he reverted back to the practice squad.
Let's just see right now. I think that would be like an Abanaconda thing.
What about Abanaconda?
Well, he was inactive last week because they signed him like 2 days prior.
Yeah, I don't know. Because
these things are so hard to find because the websites that the teams run are not required to be updated.
I know it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
We'll know by live before lock. I'm just saying things to keep an eye on if you wanted to go cheap there, and in the event that Garendo ends up not playing, although he probably does. Antoine Murphy says this is in no way a 2-quarterback slate. All right.
I didn't look at my individual lineups. You might be right. There's a lot of studs you absolutely don't need to play to.
Yeah, it might be right. Purdy does have a 258.5 passing yards prop, 244.5 for Stafford. If I'm looking at individual lineups, let's see. I assume I have a decent Purdy.
Yeah, anecdotally, as I scroll through, I'm seeing it here and there. It's not like super prevalent, but it's definitely not zero.
That's what I'm saying. I see some of it, not a ton. Anyway, let's talk about the Rams. And by the way, guys, you want to get the sims, access to the sims, to the single lineup sim as well that Matt and I are going to build out a lineup. Dude, we've been on a nice run lately with some positively simmed lineups. See if we can keep that going.
I see my old Israel Abanaconda tweet, not any new ones.
What was it about?
I was talking about him when he was coming out of college at Pitt.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Einsteinium said he thinks they elevated him again. See if you can find that. Paul said he was elevated Saturday. Yeah, but then he was sent back down on Monday. So I need to know what happened on Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, if you guys see that late, I know it's late in the season, but man, you're getting it for free. So why not? Plus, check this out. You've got Thursday night football today. You've got 2 Monday night football games. We have Christmas Day football coming up. We're going to have multiple Saturday slates in back-to-back weeks. I think weeks 16 and 17. I'm telling you, this is the best time in the world for football. You have the ability to sign up on any of our sportsbook partners and get a full month of Stokastic Core, $100 value for free. That's the Sims, ownership, player projections, top stack tool, boom bust tool, the single lineup sim. You get access to the premium Discord. All you have to do is follow the 4 simple steps. See those claim offer things on the screen? Click that. All right, you got to click that or we can't track you. Go in, whether it's Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, Bet365, deposit the minimum. It's either $5 or $10, depending on the book. Make your first bet. Even if you were to bet something this afternoon to guarantee access to the tools for tonight, make your first bet. Once that first bet settles, simply take a screenshot of that settled bet and take a screenshot of your welcome email from the book and email it to us at support@stokastic.com and let us know which league you want. Now, if you just signed up on Bet365, you get 1 month. You also get $150 in bonus bets, $200 in bonus bets on FanDuel. So you're making out like a bandit one way or another. If you were to sign up on 3 of them, that's 3 months of Stokastic Core, $300 in that. Plus, say you did FanDuel, Bet365, and another one, you're talking like $400 in bonus bets as well. So you're not just getting it for free. You're just building your bankroll out by doing nothing but depositing 5 or 10. But I'm telling you, like, you should be on these books anyway. If you're not, take advantage of the free month. And if you're in non-legal betting states, you still got all of the pick'em sites down there. Like Jacob can scroll, you'll see it. Prize Picks, Underdog, Sleeper, Better, all of those, they count just the same as any of the sports books. So yeah, if you have questions, hit me up, but it's very straightforward. Follow those simple steps, hit us up. 1 book, 4 books, 5 books, everyone counts as a month, and you can mix and match NFL, NBA, MMA, whatever it may be. Best way to get in on the tools. Matt, I think you would agree. We have nothing better right now than this.
No, and I don't know how long it's going to be around. Take advantage of this for the best time of year while it's still here.
Yes, this is also true. And while books are still giving out good bonus bet offers in the busiest time of the year. Anyway, link in the description and in the pin and in the chat. Simplest way to get access, man. Well, we got you covered across the board. Or you could just do it the traditional way if you wanted to, if you're already on those books. Join Stokastic NFL is down there. Try it out for a week or a month, any package you want. We have 4 different subscriptions, all of them which will fit your style of play, your bankroll, how serious you are, whether you're doing MME, whether you're single entering, doesn't matter. All right, on the Rams side, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams. We clearly have to just start here with all of this. This is one of those tougher teams because it's like when you get things right, you get it right. When you get it wrong, you get it wrong. And all 3 of these guys, you are getting at a 5-figure price point, Matt. You really don't see this often in the NFL, like ever, where you've got an 11K Nacua. The guy on the other side of the field is 10K, and then the guy in the backfield is 10-2. It's crazy.
Basically, I'm coming out of every lineup with one of these guys.
You have to.
That's where I'm starting, and then roster construction will permit some permutations of that. For example, there's going to be rosters that I think are Rams onslaughts because of the way the slate plays out. And you can end up with the value being on the Rams side, and then you have like Stafford, you also want him stacked. But I think these are the best plays on the slate. Really, the only thing that prohibits you is price. So you need to decide between them. I personally would rank them Nacua 1 based on his recent usage. And holy smokes, has his usage been awesome. It's not just the targets either. They've been using him on end arounds. He's been getting carries almost like a former Deebo we used to know, led the team in targets in 3 straight weeks. Kupp is right behind him in just a hyper condensed target share. But I still think I would rather have Kyren Williams over Kupp for all the rushing equity and then the goal line touches that Kyron's been getting this year. They've been fantastic. And the only time we've really seen Corum spike in snaps is in non-competitive games. 17% last week. Not really expecting that to increase.
I'm not expecting it to increase either. I'll say this much, though. What do you think, if we had to look back in the games that these guys play together, what do you think the percent of touches is for that trio? Like percent of team touches, dude, it's got to be like 85%.
Yeah, it's close for sure.
I'm asking you that because when you start looking at some of the other players on this team, you're really it's just a prayer. That's what it is. It's a prayer. Yes, DeMarcus Robinson is going to play. Tutu Atwell is going to play. We've seen Tyler Johnson and Jordan Whittington. Whittington's questionable, by the way. We've seen them get on the field. DeMarcus Robinson's also questionable as well with a shoulder and missed some of that game last time out, but he came back. He was targeted once, right? Like he had back-to-back games with touchdowns prior to that, but it was on 3 targets and 2 receptions. A guy in Tutu Atwell, he's very one-dimensional. You pretty much know what you're getting from him there. All of these guys could be live for like 2 or 3 target games, but aren't you kind of just trying to hit a moving target here? Like you don't actually have a good way to quantify this unless you're saying, do I just play the cheapest one of these guys?
I think all of that is valid, 100% accurate. But on a slate like this, it almost doesn't matter because you're really looking for like one target down here. The 49ers are complete dust because of pricing. So you have Atwell at 2,600. If he plays 40% of the snaps and has a target, that's good enough for me. I think he's my favorite value play on the slate.
Me too. But that's what I'm saying. Like I would rather go to him over DeMarcus Robinson because I don't see any discernible difference between them outside of Robinson catching a couple touchdown passes over the last few weeks. Their target shares are the same. And as far as snap counts go, Robinson is playing more, but not to a point where it's like, okay, wow, he's playing way. I would rather just pay down for Tutu Atwell.
100% agree. Their projection's not all that different, nor should it be, because Atwell has like a very specific role for this team, stretching the field and doing some gadgety stuff that no one else does. He's almost like Turpin in that regard, where he's pretty safe to play his role. And then you do have outs to more snaps if Robinson is affected by this shoulder injury. He went DNP, DNP, LP, but it seems like more of a, I don't know, a pain management thing than anything else.
If you were to break down like who are our best, how can I forget? This has been a pain in the ass all season long. Yes, Higbee is out. We started to see somebody like Davis Allen get additional work, and then like Parkinson trended down, and now he's slowly trending back up. Davis Allen trended up, and now he's trending back down. This tight end position absolutely stinks. Now, if Davis Allen were to not play, sure, I think Colby Parkinson by default just ends up getting more work. Davis Allen went from getting targets to getting absolutely nothing. Colby Parkinson went from being very involved to getting nothing to now being like a 1 target per game guy. And then Hunter Long is just, along for the ride at this stage of the game. Maybe he'll grab a target. What this tight end position is grosser than Cincinnati's that we talked about on Monday.
Oh, without a doubt. But they're all cheap, so I'm going to play them. And I'm going to rotate them and hope that the right one catches the touchdown in the right lineup. I don't see anything else you can really do. There's nothing that separates them at this point. Like the Davis Allen trend that appeared to be a trend has dissolved. It seems like they're running a hot hand at tight end. I don't know, outside of some coach speak stuff, how you could really look at this any other way.
Which is gross, though. I mean, yeah, I suppose you have to take shots on some of these guys, but you couldn't convince me that there's one of them that looks great. You couldn't do anything to convince me of that. No. I would probably like right now I have 6% Davis Allen, 6% Colby Parkinson, and 4% Hunter Long. I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to figure out. I'm not going to try and take stands on which one of these guys are going to be great.
I agree. I mean, my favorite would be Parkinson just based on the sample of the year. I know Davis Allen had like the one game where he was ahead of him, but over the course of the year, Parkinson has been better. So if you had to break a tie, you were debating between those two players, that would be my 1-for-1. But I think just to rank all the value guys on the slate, it is far and away Tutu Atwell number 1. This is excluding like kickers and defenses who are better. Number 2 would be Parkinson for me. Number 3 would be Davis Allen.
Davis Allen back down to the basement, huh?
They're not all that different in price. I mean, like if you were looking at huge gaps here, then I would feel differently. But right now, yeah, he's played the least this year out of the 3. Recent stuff's not good on him. It really was just like the 2 games. And then outside of that, he's been behind Parkinson and Atwell.
I know you touched on it a little bit, but I got to do it one more time just to dig in a bit here. And I know everyone watching and chat will want to kind of see us expand on this a bit. But Blake Corum has 8 carries in back-to-back games. The first game was super weird where he had like the first 6 carries, and then Kyron just ended up having a really good game. Last game, Corum had 8 carries, but Kyron Williams had 29, and he wasn't very effective as far as the yards per attempt goes, but 29 attempts for Kyron Williams, still played 83% of snaps. What is the realistic projection for Blake Corum today?
I would put him at 4 or 5 carries. Last game was an outlier in terms of their raw rush attempts. The Jets have had this a couple times this year. When you run the ball 40 times as a team, it is just inconceivable to give someone 40 carries. You have to have someone else come in and play the change of pace role. If you're bringing that down to 20 carries in a very competitive game, Kyron could see 19. So I think we need to actually look at the outlier game last week and provide some context to the 8 carries that Corum got. We have the longest sample basically of any head coach in the NFL right now, with Sean McVay using a feature back almost no matter what, outside of blowouts or weird outlier games where you have 40 carries. I think Kyron's in line for 20, 25 touches tonight.
It's just the way, it's just kind of par for the course. I'm with you. You're going to want to get a bunch of these guys as much as you can. My exposures to Puka are high. To Kyron is pretty high. Cooper Kupp is the one guy I'm getting the least of the big 3.
I think that makes sense. He's way less involved than Nakua right now. And maybe from a target perspective, it's close. But Nakua is getting the groundwork, and he's clearly the focal point of the pass game. And then Kyron he gets everything on the ground.
Oh, how could I forget this? My highest exposed captain right now is Puka Nacua.
I don't have a strong argument against that. I was almost going to say as it should be, but there's some good plays on this slate.
I have a lot of him, Gorendo, and George Kittle. Those are my 3 highest exposed captains today, Matt. Gorendo, Kittle, behind Puka Nacua.
I think that makes sense. It's likely to be something similar for me. I imagine it'll be Puka 1. Gorendo, I'm going to cap. I'm not sure at what number. So it might be Puka and then a gap to the next guys.
Kickers today, I think, are very viable. Very.
What about Jake Moody? I'm not in the business of predicting when guys are missing kicks. It's funny when you get a slate like this because normally you don't even have to consider it. Kickers are generally good enough.
Yeah.
But Moody's horrible.
He's been terrible. But the funny thing about it seems like across the board, feels like across the board, we have seen a lot of missed field goals this year. Like a lot. Jake Elliott for the Eagles. I'm an Eagles fan. This guy has been automatic his whole career. This year stinks. Younghoe Koo is another guy who you could just really rely on. He missed some critical kicks this year. What about Tucker in Baltimore? I'm telling you, you could go down the list. There's so many. I don't know what it is. It might just be random variance, but it has been weird. It's been weird. To answer your question, and I know you were saying that kind of tongue in cheek, but I have no problem with Jake Moody today. Like I just play him. We had someone ask us a couple weeks ago. They're like, "Yeah, what about this? No name kicker? It was the Kansas City kicker coming in. Like, are we worried about that? And he doesn't have much range. No, I could not give 2 shits about that. And he ended up being optimal that day. Like a kicker, honestly, Matt, a kicker to me is a kicker. And if it turns out that this guy has 5 opportunities for like 30 or 40-yard field goals, you're going to want to be there. Look, I'm not like espousing the virtues of Jake Moody or Cardi. What I'm saying is I'm going to end up getting a decent amount of these guys because that's just how it is. And the value on this slate is not very good. Once you get down past some of those top tier guys, the value is slim pickings down there for a lot of those guys.
That's the biggest point in favor of the kickers. It's like, who else are you going to play? You're going to go and play Demarcus Robinson? You're going to play Ricky Pearsall? I wouldn't recommend it unless that's your large field leverage spot. So, yeah, I mean, it was mainly a joke. Please don't think I'm completely dissing Jake Moody. I know he's watching right now. But, yeah, if you get to kickers, I'm not limiting that in any way, shape, or form. And I do prefer them to the defenses given the context of this slate.
All right. You want to build a lineup out?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything we missed for the Rams. I don't think there is.
We didn't talk defenses that much. I mean, I don't think either of these defenses are going to be particularly good. I'm not super worried about the Rams pass rush against the 49ers offense, even with Trent Williams out again. 49ers, we'll see who's active for this team. Allegedly, Bosa might play in this game. But even with that, the Rams are way healthier on their offensive line than they have been really at all point this season. So I think both offenses should be moving the ball.
Let's build a lineup. Let me pull this up.
Let's do it.
Oh, shit. I forgot. The college football sale, Matt. This is your wheelhouse.
This is my baby.
Dude, 65% off, right? 65% off Sims Max for college football right now. Link is in the description and it's in chat. Jacob could throw it in there. That includes what? Everything, right? The contest generator, pre-contest sim, post-contest sim, late swap, single lineup sim, which is new for 2024 for college football and for everything. Projections, ownership. We even have all the optimizers for pick six, underdog, prize picks. Yeah, and this is what, 20? This is 20 slates of college football?
22, I think I counted. They rounded to 20. It's more than that.
Okay. I have seen more screenshots when I do the Hall of Fame come in. I have them right here. I don't know if Jacob has them on the screen or if he saw my message, but I was shocked to see the type of prizes for like a more kind of, how do I say it?
Niche sport.
Niche. Yep, exactly. niche sport coming in on this. Dude, I don't know what you're doing, but I look left and right. M. Pizzuli finished in the conference championship, $2,000. But then I scroll up, and by the way, they're all thanking you and the Sims tool with the Stokastic avatar. Wally Balls, no surprise, almost a takedown in college. He took 15K down this week, but then a Stokastic avatar took down first place with 50K, and fifth place was BS Golfer for 1,000 with the Stokastic avatar. There was another one for 2K, and this is just within the last week, by the way. And then another one for 50K, which was Falstaff 60. Like, I don't know what you're doing with the projections with the Sims, but I would say the 65% off for anyone looking to get in on this that has college football in their state. Probably be in good hands with you doing this stuff behind the scenes, because all I see is college football screenshots thanking you, thanking the Sims, the projections with the Stokastic avatar.
It's harder than NFL from a projection standpoint because there's a lot that goes into it, from injuries to bad reporting, less information. I can't guarantee you'll win, but I can guarantee you that I am working harder on this than I'm working on anything else in my entire life, and trying to uncover all those little stones that might be missed by other providers. And I think that's why a lot of people have had some success.
It has to be. There's so much to cover. And if you're actually taking the time to unearth everything, that's got to be why, man. Because
I guarantee you no one will work harder. I can give you that guarantee personally.
I fully believe it. Velo said, Matt's the CFB guru. Huge shout out. Yeah, again, links down there, guys. And look, I only say this because I see how many people are singing Matt's praises and the Sims and the projections, and it's been awesome. I wish I had college football in Pennsylvania. It sucks that I don't.
You used to play.
Yes, I remember
you used to play.
Some of my bigger wins were college football, where I used this is before any optimized. Ben Pritchett, natural slugger, was very much like you. And back when he did this, like, he was heavy in the college and did I'm talking 2014 days, Matt. But you're right. It all comes down to that. College football sale, 65% off. It's huge. 22 slates, and we got the best tools out there. There's no doubt about it. We got the best tools out there. So check it out. Link is down there. If you have questions, hit us up, and you get access to the Discord, of course. All right, Matt. You started captain on Monday. I'll kick it up on captain. Hey, Travis. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us. I'll kick this one off at captain. You know what? I'm going to go Garendo here. Save us a little bit of salary. If he plays and he is unrestricted, I think that is a very good price at captain for a guy that, everybody has been good in that backfield if they get the opportunity.
I like Garendo too. I don't think I'm coming out of this slate without Puka.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. It was between him or Garendo at captain.
No, I mean, just as my flex pick. I love Garendo at the captain right now. I have no problem.
No. I'm saying, yeah, let's put Puka in a flex. But what I meant was when I was making that decision, it was Puka or Garendo. Let's go Stafford.
All right, so we got our stack. That leaves us 5,800 left.
And by the way, Jacob, make this large field 15% to first.
I'm going to put in Cardi at kicker.
Okay, sure. I got you, brother. Here we go. See, this is tough because you're not getting the Kyron or Cup here. You could, but you would be just punting down to dirt.
That's okay. You can do that.
I understand that, but I'm going to go Kittle.
Okay. That leaves us with 4,400. Okay, we have a really hard choice to make. So we're going to play someone that doesn't project that well or play a defense. Do you have a lean between DeMarcus Robinson, 49ers-Rams?
I mean, we have Stafford. I think the answer might actually be Tutu Atwell.
I have no problem with Tutu Atwell. We'd be leaving 1,800, which honestly isn't that bad.
You could go Robinson, but we actually have Tutu Atwell projecting a little better than Robinson today.
Let's go Tutu.
Let's go Tutu. We'll build one more after this too. My guess is yeah, okay. Well, there's green at least, Matt. How do we change this to make it better?
We should run Chris's lineup through this. He did send us a super chat at one of our last shows, and we accidentally missed it.
Oh, sorry, Chris. All right, yeah, let's try it.
Because I DM with Chris a lot, and I didn't realize till after the show when I was looking back and reading.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Let's try it. Thanks, Chris, and sorry about that.
Yeah, Chris is cool about it, but yeah, what was it? Kittle at captain, Saubert, Flex, Nakua, Purdy, and Jennings.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, I changed Cardi to Moody in that last lineup. Got it up to 25%.
Oh, damn. That's a big gap.
It doesn't shock me, though, because you have Stafford, Nakua, and Atwell. You have that stack. And then on the other side, you have you have Garendo and Kittle, but then Jake Moody. So kind of an interesting build there.
That is very interesting.
So he had Kittle at captain, Saubert. Wow, double time.
We only got 5 guys there, Chris. Who's at the top that we can put in? I'm assuming that's what he has. Garendo? Is the last one in?
Probably. Yeah,
let's run it. Let's run Garendo.
Gotta be Garendo. Little 5-1 action there. How price?
Oh yeah, he had Garendo.
What's Saubert's salary?
He's like 1.6, I think.
All right. There you go, Chris Albers. Showing us up.
Yeah, geez.
All right, let's build one more, Matt.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, little 5-1 action there. I appreciate that. You kick it off at captain.
So that was a Kittle captain. That's really interesting.
Kittle's my third most exposed captain right now, 13%. So I'm not shocked.
All right. Do we want to go all the way up and build a Puka captain?
I think we have to. We build a Kittle. We build a Garendo. Let's build a Nakua lineup.
All right. I'll go Puka Nakua.
I'm going Stafford. I'm going to go Stafford.
Okay. This makes it a little tough for us.
It does, but we were going to probably play one quarterback anyway.
For sure. I mean, I feel like I have to go Garendo again. He just projects so well.
I would do it.
We're kind of mixing around the top of this board, but I think it makes some sense.
I would do Garendo. And honestly, I'm going to put Tutu Atwell back in.
Okay, to change it up, why don't we put another stud in and see what we can do? If we put in Kyron, what do we have left?
Okay. 3,300 is like Blake Corum. We don't want to do that. Use check.
It's probably a tight end we're using down here.
Let's try this. Let's run it with Kyron and a punt, and then let's run it with like Kittle and a kicker.
All right. Let's do Colby Parkinson as the punt. Another 5-1.
Yeah. We're close.
We're not as good as Chris.
No, no, but I think if we were to go Kittle and then like Jake Moody.
Yeah, let's try it.
I think that could be I think we leapfrog Chris Albers there.
Also, one last thing. I uncovered the 49ers depth running back situation. Abanaconda's on the active roster. Taylor's not. Or excuse me, Vaughn's not.
Interesting. Okay.
As of right now, I mean, it still could change. But right now, the pecking order looks like Garendo, 1, Taylor, 2, Abanaconda, 3, and Taylor's not on the roster right
now. Vaughn's not.
Excuse me. Why do I keep confusing them?
That's right.
Vaughn is not on the rosters. Why do I keep doing that?
110, Matt.
Hey, all right. That's a big gap.
I actually, among all the ones we built, I really like that.
I like this one too.
Kittle and Garendo. You have Stafford. At least you have Puka Nacua, and you have Tutu Atwell. So you have the two player attachment, and then Moody's fine. Like I like that build quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Anything else before we go? Tell the people where they can find everything if they're new here, Matt.
I'm at Matt_Gajewski on Twitter, all over both YouTube channels with college football, DFS, and betting stuff. If you just search it, you'll definitely find it. We're going to be all out for bowl games. Every single one will be covered.
And 65% off, man. Everything. So that's basically 60% off the rest of everything for college football, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like you're not missing anything. Like if you were to do it, you're getting the rest of the season.
You're getting the rest of the season. I think it's the best time of year. There's the biggest edge. The transfer portal's open. There's already 1,000 guys in there, more than that. I've tracked every single one. Players are going to the NFL. Coaches are changing teams. Things are in flux. I'm dedicating all of my time to this.
I love it. Jump in, man. Check it out. Links down there, 65% off. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. We really do. Follow me at Lafayette_D and check out betting videos. I got everything for you. Picks for every game came out on Tuesday. That's for every game this week. And then picks for tonight, props, sides, touchdowns, you name it, over there on the Odd Shopper channel. If you're a betting man or woman or pick 'em, whatever it may be, and you're looking for that extra spice, come hit us up over on Odd Shopper. Otherwise, we'll see you back here tonight, live before lock. It's going to be 7:15 or 7:30 Eastern. One way or another, we'll be here. Peace.